Councilman James, could you tell us a little bit about your history in Afghanistan, and then uh, your thoughts on our exit from Afghanistan at this particular time?
Okay, well, I served for 23 and a half years in the United States Army, various say branches. I was in the Army Reserve, National Guard, and at times active duty. Went over to Afghanistan in '07 to '08. I served for a year, member of an embedded training team, and eventually a ground commander during the war. Initially, the history of Afghanistan is that we went over due to the 9/11 attacks, and we have to remember those who died in those attacks tomorrow. This weekend is a big weekend for that. And then somehow along the way, the effort changed into nation building. And I think that is the biggest issue. We put in a democratic government. We actually supported their elections to put, I believe, President Karzai in office. And nation building did not work. They have a different cultural tapestry over there, highly religious, different tribes. There is no true central government in Afghanistan. It's a bunch of villages, again, tribes, different languages, different dialects. And they never came together as a central, strong, solid government led by, the capital, Kabul. We saw that on a daily basis. We lost a lot of lives in Afghanistan, both Afghans and especially military personnel, United States military personnel. Some of my close friends did not make it home, and some made it home not 100% of what they were when they left. So I'm glad that we were out of Afghanistan. I believe we spent too much money there, and some of that money could have been spent here. I distinctly remember during the war that people were losing homes here. Schools did not have enough funding, yet we're spending billions of dollars overseas in Afghanistan. That was traumatizing. I am lucky to be here. I was a casualty. I was hit by an IED or a roadside bomb. I went off underneath my vehicle, so currently I'm 70% disabled in the United States military. And whether we exited 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, it would not have been a clean exit. Everything that we saw in the last weeks would have happened 10 years ago, would have happened 7 years ago. Whenever the force which was trying to provide stabilization, like the United States military and the backing of other nations, is leaving the country for good, it's just a matter of time before the Taliban or the anti-coalition forces, as we call them, take over control again. And so, again, you would have seen these images years ago. I'm just glad that no more U.S. service members will die over in Afghanistan. Again, I believe the nation building was not successful, and we need to focus on things here in the United States. There are a lot of issues: financial, employment. Many veterans make up 25% of the homeless population in the United States. Maybe some of that money can now be funneled toward veteran programs, other programs, to assist United States residents, as opposed to, like I said earlier, nation building, and a nation which truly did not want us.
Councilman, may I say what I should have said at the outset, which is to thank you for your service to our country. And I think, as you point out, it's particularly apt that we should be having this conversation on the anniversary of the deadly attacks on this country. Is it fair to say that when we initially went over there with the military objective of bringing to justice those who attacked us, we had a clear and defined mission, but that it got away from us over the years? Could you address that, and the sense that some people have that maybe us coming home from there is leaving the job undone?
Well, again, there is a different culture there. It's very religious. They were not democratic when we went there. They were similar to the United States when the Indians had different tribes and territories before we became the United States of America. So they were not used to answering to a central government. So I think that's complex. Whereas the Taliban was very aggressive, very formidable. They knew all of these individuals. They would go to individuals' homes and threaten them to support them, or threaten them to stay away from working with the United States forces. So again, a very difficult culture and tapestry, trying to get them to think and live like we do here. When the majority of their culture supports farming, no major cities, or maybe 4 major cities. The rest are just farming villages. It's just, I don't think the mission could have ever been done or sustained from the get-go. Noble effort, but as we see, it just collapsed within hours after we left that country.
Are you left with a clear understanding of American foreign policy in the future needing to be, in a military sense, very prescribed instead of nation building? You seem fundamentally skeptical about that, and certainly we were both born during the Vietnam War era, and then you've experienced Afghanistan. You're left with a very skeptical sense of America going in and occupying a country and trying to rebuild a country in our image. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, and I think the key component we're leaving out is there is a military-industrial complex. They only make money when there's a war. During World War I and World War II, when we went to war, everyone in the nation benefited because factories were ramping up, we were making things, everyone was directly affected or indirectly affected. These new wars, the contractors are not from the United States, the majority of them. The employees are not from the United States. The items manufactured do not come from the United States. So we see very little direct benefit here as a citizen of the United States. And so these military conglomerates, well, I should say, they love war, they encourage war because they're making billions. But that is not seen to the average American. And so there are always those war hawks who want to get into a war, get into a conflict because it's financially beneficial to them.
Councilman, as someone who serves in local government and serves our largest city in New Jersey, are you encouraged by America extracting from a foreign engagement like this so that we can refocus on our domestic economy and our own constituents?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have serious infrastructure problems in the United States. In the South Ward, I've been fighting incessantly for a PATH train station to be put in the South Ward to connect the community to the airport. Billions of dollars of transactions are going out there at the airport, and we cannot walk to the airport. We do not have easy access. And my hope that some of these infrastructure dollars can be spent on projects like that, projects which have been on the books for 20 to 30 years, which just have not been completed. Projects which we fought to get put back into the capital budget, placed in the capital budget, but still not done. So we have entire swaths of the community in every major city that need some kind of economic assistance or economic advancement. And, these dollars being spent on not just infrastructure, but other programs can go a long way towards that.
Councilman, what was your initial path into the military? What made you join, and what would be your message to young people maybe considering a career in the military?
I initially entered Morehouse College in 1986. I was there about 6 months. And I made a determination that if there was a war, I did not want to be drafted. I wanted to be already trained and prepared. I did volunteer to go to Afghanistan, so it was amazing. 20 years after I joined, not only was I prepared, but I was able to volunteer, go to a war, and actually perform heroically and represent the United States. So initially I joined the Army Reserves. At that 6-month mark, they had a split option program where you could go to basic training the following summer, and then advanced training the following year, and not interfere with your college studies. That's what I did when I graduated. And then after going basic and advanced training, I joined ROTC. After I joined ROTC and graduated, came home, was called for Desert Storm, and actually spent 6 months at Fort Gordon at Dwight David Eisenhower Army Medical Facility. Desert Storm, as you know, was a short war. We did not have a lot of casualties. So our medical team, which was scheduled to go over, didn't have to go. We just stayed at Fort Gordon. And then I came back home with the National Guard, did multiple training positions, mortar platoon leader, long-range surveillance unit, executive officer, tow company commander, and then we dealt with September 11th, and then eventually Afghanistan. So 23 and a half years, I would do it again in a heartbeat. And the military is a qualified organization, strong organization. There are many benefits for veterans, and so I would welcome anyone to join. I have 2 co-workers at the county. Both their children have joined the military, and they are serving our country today. And I have many friends who have children or loved ones or family members that are in the military. Is any organization perfect? No, but they're doing the right thing. They're serving this country, protecting this country, allowing us to have from the freedoms and liberties that we have every day.
Councilman, I want to thank you again for your time today. Is there anything you want to add to this discussion?
No, I just want to thank you for taking the time out, being a professional reporter and doing your research and investigation. And I look forward to working with you in the future.
You too. Thank you, sir.